pop them in the Q&A box. We'll get to some of those live as we go through the webinar, and we know that some will get answered as we go through as well. And also joining me live on the call, we've got Louise. So Louise, you just want to say hello, introduce yourself,
Hello.
and sort of take us through sort of what you've done, what your journey's been to this
Yeah.
point.
Yeah, hi everyone. Thanks for coming this evening. I know 7 p.m. Not the earliest, but I'm Louise. I was a placement student intern at Gatwick Enterprise, Enterprise Gatwick, sorry. It was year long at the airport, so yeah, dealt with a lot. And it was really good. And I go to the University of Sussex as well, so based down in Brighton.
Fantastic. And are you doing anything whilst you're at the University of Sussex, Louise? Are you helping me on campus or
Oh
anything like
yeah, I
that?
am. Sorry, Paul. Yeah, I'm also a campus brand manager, so I help Paul. I help you guys if you have any questions about the recruitment process for Enterprise as well. So if you've got any questions, do let me know.
Yeah, that's it. And both myself and Louise will pop our LinkedIn in the chat later on this as we go through this session as well. So do please connect with us and keep the conversation going if you'd like to. So brilliant. Well, thank you, Louise, and really appreciate having you on the call. I know that everyone who joins these webinars takes so much from having sort of the input from someone who's been through the process and the early part of the journey, sort of much more recently than I have in my working life. So yeah, really appreciate you taking a bit of time out of your evening.
Happy to be here.
Now, what we're going to do for the probably the next 45 to 50 minutes is we're going to take you through a bit of a slide deck about enterprise mobility, touching on who we are as a business, what we do, where we've come from, where we are now, and where we're going. But also very much focusing on what is predominantly our bread and butter graduate and placement offering, which is our management training program as well. So talking about that in a little bit more depth in terms of what it entails, what it looks like, the skills that we look for, the skills that you'll develop if you join, and also how we go about assessing those through the recruitment process as well. So hopefully all of you will take a bit from this webinar as we run through. A big thing for myself and Louise on this is all about a call to action. Off the back of this, we would hope that many of you will like what we've had to say and will choose to take the plunge and push an application through either for a 12-month placement, the full graduate level role, or even a summer internship that we've still got open as well. But let's kind of move on. Let's have a little look at some of the slides that we've got for you tonight. So first and foremost, Enterprise has been around now for a little while. We were launched in the late 1950s, and we were founded by an entrepreneur, a gentleman called Jack Taylor. Was starting to look at what was the next stage in his career and his life after leaving the US military, and decided to launch Enterprise Mobility. Now, we actually started as executive leasing. We then rebranded to Enterprise Rent a Car to now Enterprise Mobility, which is where we are today. And as we've gone through the last 6.5, 7 decades, a few things have underpinned what we have always done as a business and how we like to operate. And that is our company's founding values. And these were put in place by Jack all the way back in the late 1950s. And I'm not going to go through sort of each of these in turn. You can probably have a read yourself and get an idea for what they mean. But Louise, I'm going to throw to you sort of on this slide. And thinking about your time in branch and in the airport and what you've seen helping me on campus, those sorts of things. Are there any here that particularly resonate with you? Any that sort of strike a particular chord or that you've seen sort of a lot of evidence in your time with us so far?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like all of them very much present, but if I had to choose one, it would be the organisation as fun and a friendly place to work. When
Nice.
I did my placement year at Gatwick, your team becomes kind of like your family because you're spending pretty much all your time with them. And Enterprise, their recruitment process, they really look at you as a person as well. So they employ people who are very much similar to you in a way. Yeah, and I can mention I made some brilliant friends during my placement year as well. I'm also great friends with Sophia, who's my campus brand manager as well at the University of Sussex. And I feel like when you get on with the people you work with, you create outcomes that, are great. And we got a lot done at Gatwick. We hit all our quotas. We got bonuses from it as well. So I feel like Enterprise really does. You can make some really good
Nice.
friendships
So you
that way.
started to touch on the work hard and reward hard work element there
Yes,
as well, which is
exactly,
nice
exactly.
to
I feel like
see.
that could be
So
linked. Yeah, and obviously
yeah.
honesty and integrity as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. I think in a nutshell, what we try to do as a business, we try to do things in the right kind of way, thinking about our customers and our people, and making sure that when we are doing business, that we're having a positive impact rather than a negative impact in terms of our communities and in the diversity space and inclusion and that sort of thing as well. And
And
we'll
not,
touch on a few more of these as we run through
yeah.
the slide deck as well. But brilliant. Thanks, Louise. So let's kind of look at Enterprise today. So we boast some pretty impressive numbers as an organisation. We've grown an awful lot since those humble beginnings in the late 1950s. And we turn over now in excess of $39 billion. We've got a global team size approaching 100,000 employees, can be found in nearly 100 different countries and territories. And from the seven vehicles that we launched the company with, we now have around about 2.4, closing in on 2.5 million vehicles. And we are today still privately held by the Taylor family. And our current CEO is the third generation Taylor to have the reins, and it's Chrissy Taylor, and it's the granddaughter of our founder, Jack. And we talk a little bit more about Chrissy and her career path and what it's meant for the business as we go through. But as you can see, some pretty impressive numbers in terms of us as an organization and our reach. Now, this next slide is one that we've only had really for the last couple of years, and that is because, as I mentioned recently, we have rebranded to Enterprise Mobility. We were looking 2 years ago to sort of see what our offerings were, our key services, what our customers were expecting and getting from us. And we realized that by calling ourselves Enterprise Rent a Car, we just were not doing ourselves enough justice. That there was actually a hell of a lot more to us as a business other than just renting cars. And on the slide here, what you can see is all of the different business lines, all of the different products, all of the different services that we have on offer under the Enterprise Mobility banner. So we actually have three independent car rental companies. So Enterprise, National, and Alamo, which all offer a slightly different service, slightly different way. Louise, I imagine you probably saw greater evidence in the airport than maybe some of our more home city branches would have done. You know, that sort of
Yes.
tri-brand side of things.
Yes, no, I did. Lots of Americans love the Alamo, so yeah,
Yeah, so
I,
the Alamo side, yeah,
yeah.
so good. But alongside that, we've got some of our more specialist vehicles. So we've got things like the Exotics collection, which is things like the Ferraris, the Lamborghinis, the Porsches, all the way through to Flexi Rent, which over here in the UK is our commercial division. So that's those specialist vehicles. That's things like refrigerated trucks, all the way through to dust carts, and we even have the largest fleet of golf buggies on the planet on rent. So if any of you have ever been to Glastonbury and you've seen the stars being driven around on the little golf carts, there are golf buggies. So you'll see sort of us there. Now, one of the more recent ones that's just been added to this slide is Hogan, and this is actually a large haulage fleet company. So looking at those very, very large vehicles with large distribution chains and those sorts of things, it has literally been added to our portfolio in the last 30 to 40 days. And then the last one to touch on then is Integral, which is one of our technology companies that we own, because at Enterprise Mobility, we actually produce and own and upkeep all of our own technology and software solutions and all of the package that we actually use in our branch and our operational network. So as we start to go through the slides, we'll start to talk about the career path that's available at Enterprise. And when you look at this slide, you really can see all the different directions that your career can go in and all of the different companies and areas that are available to you. But the very simple premise with enterprise mobility is that if our customers need to provide a service, if they need to move goods, if they need to move people, we have a product or a service that will enable them to do that, will enable them to have that mobility solution. So as we've kind of moved through and as we've rebranded, we've then actually also looked for the first time in our company history at our employee proposition statement. What is it that we actually want in terms of our people and how they add value? And what we've come up with is advancing the world one journey at a time. Now, Louise, you may not have seen this because this is newer. It's sort of less than a year old, but so I'm not going to sort of throw you under the bus and explain what it means. I'll take a go at it. So the idea with this is that we are a global organization and that we have an impact in every corner of the world where we do business. And we are trying to advance the way that people use transport, mobility, and logistical solutions in that way. But the way we do that is on a very local feel, doing it one journey at a time. So thinking about each individual transaction, each individual customer, each individual journey that they would go on. So that's the idea behind sort of the customer side of this. But it also ties quite nicely into the employee journey as well, because we want our employees to have a global outlook. We want them to realize that there is an opportunity for them to go anywhere where their career wants them to go, but also that they do that and we do it with them as an individual, treating their journey as an individual journey, one at a time, and supporting them and helping them, coaching and training and developing where we need to along the way as well. So it's all about that sort of large feel but on a very small local scale is in terms of how we do it. And Louise, I am going to now throw to you on this one. What does this look like in the branch, in terms of how did you feel as a single entity and part of this huge global organization? Did you feel that you were empowered? Did you feel you could make a difference? Did you feel that your individual needs were certainly catered for on your placement?
Yeah, so I touched on what you said, that Enterprise, your career is a career company. So I found that it was a very personalized experience to every employee. So my manager sat me down every month and we had a one-to-one, and we went through my sales progress, we went through everything, and then she gave me tips on how I could improve, what I was good at. But yeah, I found that that was really helpful to advance myself. And then with that, I got my management. So now I'm management assistant. So I got promoted because I had that personalized one-to-one experience. So I definitely feel like Enterprise really does progress your journey as an individual as well.
Fantastic, brilliant. Thanks, Louise. And we'll talk a little bit more about that development piece and relationship with your manager team and that sort of thing as we go through. Because there's a little bit coming up in a minute that talks about the type of people that you work with and what that looks like in a branch setup. So we'll come on to that in a moment. So one of the things that I'm particularly proud of, and Sam in the background works very closely with a lot of this, is the awards that we've got for our graduate and our placement program as well. People do truly make our organization thrive. They're at the heart of everything that we do as a business. And we've got a lot of recognition over the recent years for what we do to bring in early years talent and to coach and to train and develop them into managers within our organization. So on the slide, you can just see four of the awards that we've had recently. So for those of you that are perhaps looking for a placement or a summer internship like Louise did, we are currently ranked number one in the Hiring Top 100 undergraduate employer for 2025-2026. For those of you that don't know, Hiring is what used to be Rate My Placement. They've rebranded as well. So we're number one going into this academic year, which is absolutely fantastic for that placement and summer internship provision. The nice thing is we were number one last year. The year before that, we weren't number one, we were number two. But we've got a nice track record. We're on a nice trend with this. So we've gone 2-1-1 over the last 3 years. The beauty of our placement program is that isn't something that we write an award submission for. It gets judged by a panel of judges and they say yes or no as to whether we're great. What we do with this is these reviews are written by our outgoing placement students. When they finish their placement with us, they would write their review and it would go on to that, and it then sort of calculates all of the scores that we get and puts us in a ranking from there. So that number one spot is based off our placement students giving fantastic feedback when they go back to university. The good thing with it is we don't just hire 3 or 4 placement students. We hire normally anywhere between 250 to 320 placement students every single year. So we are talking a high volume of people giving very, very positive feedback when they finish their experience with us. The other ones that are on the slide here, we are inside the Times Top 100 for graduate employers. We're actually inside the top 50. So we are competing with all of the very well established traditional graduate employers, the top fours, the big investment banks and law firms, and that side of things as well. And we've also won the Target Jobs Graduate Employer of the Year 3 times in our history as well. Most recently going back to 2024, which was just incredible. So Louise, I'm going to sort of talk to you about some of these awards and those sorts of things. Obviously, they look great when we put it on a poster, on a banner, on a slide, but how important was this to you when you were looking for your placement? How much sort of weight did you give to the review sites and to the sort of the listings that we were in?
Yeah, so during the Rate My Placement really made Enterprise known to me that it was a route to go down for a placement year,
Mhm.
because my university has a careers page, so they kind of mirror all the good reviews from Rate My Placement and put it on their careers hub. So definitely having a look at that and having a look at, I looked at the reviews as well, and it seemed like quite a positive, but also a good placement to do that will give you transferable skills to take on in your future career. So I definitely, yeah, I think it's very important when you're searching for a placement because you can see firsthand what people have thought about before you as well. So yeah.
Yeah, perfect. That's brilliant. Super. Thanks, Louise. I was just having a quick look at the Q&A, and I can see that we've got a question in there from Michael. I'm just going to come to that now, Michael, so as it's sort of not sitting there and sort of waiting. So you should have had contact from our team both in September and through December. What I will ask my colleague Sam in the background to do is to pop my email through to you in the direct chat. Drop me an email and just let me know, so obviously, full name and where you've applied to, that side of things. I will take that away and we'll look into sort of seeing to look up to where you're at with it. I'm hoping that the team have tried to get in touch with you, but instead, what perhaps it's gone into your junk folder or something along those lines. But please, yeah, I'll ask Sam to send you my email address, and I will follow up with you directly off the back of this call. But yeah, appreciate you sort of putting the question in the chat there. Excellent. So let's look at a little bit at our management training program. We started to touch on it. We've started to allude to it a little bit more. So what does it actually entail? What does it look like? So what we really sort of fundamentally view our management training program as is a route into a management role with us here at Enterprise Rent a Car, but it is a fast track route into management. We bring everybody in at that same level, at placement or at graduate level, and we train them to be a manager in our organization. So we teach them the skills that they need to understand how to run one of our branches, one of our business units. So operationally, you're in one of the branches, you're working with the team, you're working with the clients and accounts and with our customers, helping us deliver that world-class service. But behind the scenes, you are learning how that business unit actually operates. So you are looking at everything from the people side of the business in terms of how we train and develop and coach and get the best out of a team. The numbers side, so understanding how we actually manage things like cost control, revenue generation, how to impact the bottom line and through those areas, right the way through to a bit of marketing and account management, how we grow the business, how we build relationships, how we engage with that customer base as well. You are going to get exposure to all of those things so that then when you've completed your training, you are in a position to step into that assistant manager role and actually start leading the team within the branch. And within that, we're also going to reward you. And Louise, I'm going to come to you with this in a moment. You touched on some of the bonuses and those sorts of things. We reward in many different ways. We will reward in terms of progression and give you the opportunity to move through your career. We reward financially, both in terms of a competitive salary. And our graduate start salary is £30,000 at the moment. And our placement start salary is 23,400 at the moment. So both competitive and enable you to do well. But there are opportunities to actually earn a little bit more on top of that. So, Louise, do you want to talk about some of the bonuses that were maybe in place in your branch? And,
Yeah,
what did that look like? And, how did
yeah.
your team recognize
So,
performance?
a lot of it was monetary, but that was also like if we did a really good upgrade that morning, we got free lunch to the team with the best upgrades, like little challenges in your branch as well. But
Yeah.
with the monetary one, because I know it's a lot of motivation for people, because money is quite nice. If you get a promotion within your first year, you receive £500 when you pass your management qualification interview. That's basically just about a 2 hour, like it's split up into sections. It's basically asks you about all the questions in the business, and if you pass, you get a qualification that you're management assistant, which is the promotion, and you get £500 as well. There's also monetary if you hit the, there's probably language, but if you hit the dashboards, if you hit the targets, basically for your branch. Yeah, so if your customer service feedback is really good, you do get a bit extra money, which is always quite nice, especially around Christmas.
Yeah, fantastic. And we do all sorts. We've got an employee referral program. So
Yes,
if one of
yes.
you was to apply and were to successfully get a job with us, if you recommend someone that you work with or someone you know through your university and they get job offered, we would pay a bonus of up to £1,000 for each one of those as well. So, there's certainly scope for you to earn well financially. But Louise, I love the fact that you touched on, look, we do rewards like lunches, we
Yeah,
do
coffee,
day
stuff like
outs. We
that.
call
Yeah,
them elite days where we
yeah,
take
yeah,
our
yeah,
top
yeah.
performers
Yes,
out
yes.
and sort of things like that where we reward that performance. And so
Yeah.
there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes to get that to recognize those that are doing a great job. Um, Now, in terms of it, we have won a lot of awards for the training and development. I touched on all the different things that you're going to learn. Our training and development is a nice blend between being hands-on, but also classroom based as well. It's probably about a 75-25 split is what I would say. So a lot of the day-to-day operational learning is done in the business, hands-on learning whilst doing. Safe in the knowledge that you've got your management team alongside you there to coach and to train and correct where they need to, because we all make mistakes. And the nice thing is when you're learning, it's okay to make mistakes, so embrace it, enjoy being new, don't be afraid of trying things and making a few mistakes. But also, what we do is once a quarter, you'll go into one of the regional head offices. We'll do a bit of formal training, we'll go through some theory, discuss it, debate it, role play it, practice it, and you take it away and apply it to what you're doing from there and get success with it that way as well. So it really is a nice blend between that hands-on and classroom-based stuff.
And
The
you get
nice
free
thing with
lunch.
and you get a free lunch and you
Yeah,
grab
free lunch
those
at
as well.
Stokes. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Just thought I had. Just
Yeah.
thought.
Just throwing the lunches out there all the time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's it. And The nice thing with our training as well is it is very self-led, so you can get ahead of the schedule if you want to. Use your initiative, find your own mentors as well as using your assigned mentors. Use people that can help you sort of tap into that side of things. So, Louise, again, I'm going to come to you, and what did the training structure look like in your branch? Who took the ownership for your development? Who was your go-to person?
Yeah, so I loved, so I went to Staines to do my training day, and I had Rose, and she was great. She was very hands-on. She knew everybody, and she was just great in your development. She would generally ask you questions about how you find the branch, and also it was quite a fun day. They did it well. So like it's like a sort of like a university lecture, so you took notes, and then at the end of it you had a quiz, and if you passed the quiz you move on to the next stage. And yeah, I yeah, it was fun. It was actually really fun. I really enjoyed it.
Nice. And in the branch setup, who was responsible for your training on a day-to-day basis?
um
Who was looking after
I
you from that side of things?
I had, well, I had Jan, who's now the branch manager of Heathrow, I believe. She was
Yeah.
my manager. And I also had Callum as well, who's the assistant manager at Crawley. And they were great. They took notes every month on my, like I said, on my development. I sat down with Callum, my assistant manager, because he was the head of my team, had proper one-to-one training with him. And yeah, I owe a lot to them for where I am now, really, because they really helped me understand the business.
Fantastic, brilliant, good. So, last couple with these, I touched on some of our founding values right at the very start of the slide deck, and one of them was our doors are open. And this doesn't mean that we're open for our customers 24/7. What it means is that everybody is welcome in our business. Doesn't matter what background you're coming from, what heritage you come from, what gender you are, everybody is welcome. Our doors are open. We are an inclusive employer, and we do an awful lot to support different groups of people within our business in terms of employee resource groups, in terms of different mentoring programs, different structures along those sides of things. So we do want people when they come into our business to be themselves, to feel comfortable bringing their authentic self to work, because we know that when people are comfortable being themselves, that is when they perform at their best. So for us, diversity and inclusion, it isn't just one of those buzzwords. It is something that is ingrained in our business that we pay attention and focus to every single sort of day that we're operating. And because of that, it does mean that you get to work with some truly great people. I said at the start of the slide deck that I would tell you a little bit more about my career path as the evening went on. I am closing in now on 26 years with Enterprise Mobility. I joined as a graduate all the way back in May 2000. And I never ever thought at that time that I would be in a business for that long. And I've had everything that the graduate program and the business has got to offer in terms of opportunities, progression, reward, recognition, all of those different things. But what has surprised me and what has kept me here for as long as I've been here is actually the people that I work with. We have got phenomenal people in our business that are driven, they're ambitious, they want to be the best, but they always do it in the right kind of way. They never do it at the detriment of the customer service they provide to our customers. They never ever do it to the detriment of their teammates where they're treading over each other's toes to get to the next deal or to get one up on them. And that for me, in a business that employs 100,000 people across the globe, I don't think I can count on one hand people that I've met that I just could not work with. It's as small a number as that. Louise, what's it like for you, sort of when you were in branch? How did you feel welcomed? What were your team like? You've dropped a couple of names there, Jan and Callum. So
Yeah.
what was your team like? Is it something that resonated with you, the people that you worked with?
Oh, I love my team. I miss Green Team. Um, yeah, so there's five of us in the team. We became friends outside of work as well, which I think is really nice because I haven't really had that in a job before. And we just sort of looked after each other day to day. I mean, you're spending so much time with these people. And I found that I really enjoyed my placement year because of them, because I felt like they pushed me to be the best version of myself in the company, if that makes sense. So yeah, it's great. It's great.
Cool. So, who will you get to work with? We've kind of dropped a couple of names in, we've dropped some job titles in, those sorts of things. So, these are the people that you're going to see sort of on a regular basis. So, every single part of our operating regions will have a number of area managers that will look after anything really from sort of 3 or 4 branches up to 7 or 8 branches. Some of our big airport locations, they make up an area on their own. So, does Gatwick fall as an area on its own, or
It does, yeah. So
yeah?
Teddy was in charge of Gatwick,
Yeah,
Luton and
that's right.
Stansted.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
so that area manager responsible for potentially for 6 or 7 business units in their area, probably up to 50 to 60 people overseeing all of those different things. Then you come into your branch manager. So that person is responsible for that branch, that business unit, everything that goes on in that branch on a day-to-day basis. Their number one responsibility is employee development. It is all about making sure that they are developing the next level below them, making sure that they are getting people ready to fill in succession plan and into the roles as they become available. They're also responsible for customer service, so making sure that our branches are delivering that world-class service that comes brings the customer back time and time again. And then they are responsible for the business performance, so growth and profitability. So actually making sure that the business is growing and that it's returning sort of strong numbers as well. So very much two elements of focus on the people, employees and customers, two elements of focus on the business, growth and profitability. The assistant manager role is the first real taste of responsibility that someone's going to get in one of our branches. I always liken the assistant manager role to almost the quarterback of the branch. They're the person that's running all the plays, they're calling all the shots. It's like, Louise, I need you to go and pick this customer up. I need you to go and sort this car out. I need you to go and take a tea break because you've been busy all morning and haven't stopped. But that's kind of the assistant manager role. They're really orchestrating sort of what's going on and from there. And then within that, we've got a number of support roles as well. So whether that is in our European contact centres, whether that is in our head offices or our European head office where I'm based out of, but lots of people in different areas and different sections of the business that are all there to support and ensure that what we do is deliver that phenomenal service that our customers expect from us. So, Louise, talk us through sort of Gatwick and your team. What did that look like? What was the team size? How many of you were there? How often did you interact with these types of people?
Yeah, so Gatwick is quite a big branch compared to Home City branches. I believe our team is about 20, including managers. So we had about three to four assistant managers. So we had one per team basically. We had two branch managers and then one area manager, and a city manager, which is one up. Which, yeah, he's in charge of all the airports, so he's very important. Yeah, you interact with your assistant manager because for me, we had assistant manager per team, so I interacted with them the most. But the
Yeah.
branch manager just sort of floats around and really helps out the assistants to deliver the message to us, if that makes sense. So it's quite a good, easy structure to understand.
Yeah. Fantastic, brilliant, good. And with all of those people, did you feel you could get on with them? Did you feel you
Yeah,
could
yeah,
approach
yeah,
them if you had a
yeah,
problem, you felt comfortable airing it? If you needed
yeah.
some development, you could go and ask for it. Did you feel they were relatable?
100%. Like
Yeah.
like the title of area manager seems like they're a really big, scary person, but really, I love Teddy. I had like I just chat with him like a normal person, and they're here to help your career development as well.
Yeah.
So just ask them anything. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter like their
Fantastic.
position.
Brilliant. Good. So on the screen at the moment, what we've got is just a nice little sort of spider diagram of what some of the career paths that are on offer look like here at Enterprise Mobility. So everybody in our organization starts either at that intern or management trainee level on the bottom left of this graphic. They work their way up through the business, through the assistant manager role, branch manager role, area, regional manager, all the way up to vice president, and if you're Chrissy Taylor, CEO. But all of us have started on that journey. We've all started on that bottom rung of the ladder, have learnt the ropes, have learnt the business, and worked our way from the ground up. But because we are such a large organization, and I take you back to that slide that showed all of the different business lines and all of the different services we offer, we have so many support roles that support our day-to-day operations as well. So my career path, I got to branch manager, realized that my strengths were my people skills, how I trained, how I developed, how I coached and got the best out of a team, and took the sideways step into HR and then progressed into training and development, recruitment and talent acquisition, which is where I sit now. So I've been able to forge a second career in the very specialist people side of the business. Now, for some of you on the call, it may be that sales is your bag. You just come in, you love it, you're amazing at it, and you go and become a national sales manager, an account manager, and help us with our business to business sales or business to consumer sales. It might be that maybe you're more analytical and that numbers is your bag and that you go into risk or you go into our business management finance team. It might be that you've got a tech itch that you need to scratch, and we've got our own in-house tech teams and support teams and all of these things as well. All of these opportunities we actually advertise internally, and we have a promote from within culture. So around about 90% of our jobs every single year are filled from internal promotions. We will only go externally to the marketplace for specific roles if it is a very specific skills that we're looking for that we feel we can't grow or develop or find in our own current workforce. So, certainly a lot of opportunity for people to progress once they join the business. And just in sort of calendar year 2025, to put that into context, we had over 20,000 of our global team take on different responsibilities through the calendar year. So whether that was a promotion, whether it was a lateral move, whether it was adding a new dynamic to their job and a new strand to it, but 20,000 people took on something different to what their day job was the year before, which is just an incredible number. It really is. So, what skills will you get when you join our management training program? And I'm going to bring all of these up so as I'm not clicking through, and we'll talk through some of them in a bit more depth as we kind of come to them. Because some of them I've touched on, some of them I haven't. So, you will learn how we sell to our customers. You will learn how we market our business to our external accounts and how we grow the business. You will learn how we deliver exceptional service to our customers to bring them back time and time again. You will learn operational skills, logistical skills, how we plan our fleet and how we organize things. You will learn business skills. So, actually, how to manage a balance sheet, how to understand profit and loss and impact those numbers. And finally, you will learn how to become a leader, how to grow and to develop others and go from there. So, Louise, I'm going to come to you on some of these. Take me through sort of your experience of a couple of these sort of bullets on there. What sort of growth have you seen in terms of your personal skill set? Maybe what are some of the skills you're taking back to university that you didn't realize you would be?
Yeah, no, well, to think critically for a start. So I really enjoyed the operations and logistics sides of things. So I was very interested in the risk aspect of my placement. So I was put in charge of the admin. But that taught me about how to kind of like think about a problem and solve it in the best way I can, but then also put the customer first when solving that problem, if that makes sense. So my communication towards people as well has got a lot better, because I'm calling customers up, being like, "Hey, we saw this like about damages in their vehicle," and then dealing with it in the best way possible. Leadership and development, I have excelled at that as well. I was put in charge of overseeing the day one time, and that taught me responsibility and kind of how to trusting myself, I think, making decisions, which has really helped at university when it comes to writing my essays and just life in general. So yeah, it definitely teaches you a lot of transferable skills about just you can apply to everywhere, not
Yeah.
just enterprise.
Fantastic, brilliant. Thanks, Louise. Simon. Good. So let's kind of talk about our application process and let's talk about the skills that we look for as well. So one of the things that I think really makes us unique as an organization in terms of how we recruit and how we attract talent to our business is on this slide here right now. We will come onto campus, we'll meet people like all of you to introduce you to our business and what we do. Hopefully, you like the sound of what we've got to offer and you will go and complete an online application. We don't look for a minimum grade. We don't look for a specific degree. We hire from all degree backgrounds and we hire from every single university across the country. I think last year we hired from something like 127 different further education, higher education institutions, which is just absolutely incredible. What we are looking for on that application form is we are looking, first of all, that you do actually hold a degree. If you don't hold a degree, then we are willing to substitute for up to 2 to 3 years experience in a customer service, sales, and leadership position. But you've got to be a bit further down your journey than perhaps what a typical graduate would be. We're looking for evidence of, as like I said, customer service, people skills, past experience that you've had working in a customer-facing environment. So anything in retail, anything in hospitality, anything in the service industry is great to see on an application form. If you haven't got any of that formally through work experience, have you done things like volunteering? Have you done things on campus at university like student ambassador, course rep? Louise, I know that you're part of that sort of program with your university, aren't you, in terms of sort of supporting students and the ambassadorial stuff. So all of that absolutely is of interest to us. We want to know what you're doing. Extracurricular wise, are you part of a society? Are you on the committee? Do you play sports? A lot of my communication and my leadership skills have come from how I learned how to captain football and cricket teams over the years when I was a younger, slimmer, fitter man than I am today. But a lot of these skills are transferable and relate to what we sort of want to see coming into our business. So that's what we're looking for on our online application. That application is screened by a real person. There is no AI pre-screening. It is screened by a member of my talent acquisition team looking for our 6 core competencies, and we'll touch on those in a moment. We then, if we see that, what we're looking for, we then invite you into one of our virtual interviews. We will do phone screens before that, just to start the conversation, to sort of get people into the journey. But the first real stage is a virtual interview. It is a live Teams call. No pre-recorded videos, nothing silly like that at all. You can smile, you can have two-way conversation, and it is all about finding out about you, your skill set, what you've achieved, but also trying to identify your potential and the competencies that you have already that will enable you to get there so that we can think about what we need to do to develop you and take you further. Assuming that you pass that, then we then invite you into one of our branches. This is a unique opportunity for you to come into our environment, to meet the team that you're going to potentially be working with, get a feel for our company culture, and use it as an opportunity to make sure that we're right for you, as much as obviously we're assessing and making sure that you're right for us. And off the back of that, then it's job offer. So you will also notice there is no assessment center, there is no psychometric testing, there's no pre-recorded videos, there's no AI or anything like that. Everything that you are doing is being assessed by a real person where you can have real conversations. And because we are such a people-focused organization, we feel that our recruitment process reflects that as well, because we want to find out about you as a person. So Louise, I'm going to come to you on this. I went through the recruitment process 26 years ago. You went through it 18 months ago. How did you find it? What was it like? What stood out for you? Which stage of the process really kind of hit home that this was the type of role and the type of business that you were excited about?
Yeah, no, I was quite surprised with how quick it was. So I
Yeah,
got the job offer within about a month and a half of applying. I had Sophie, she was great. She did my phone screening and my virtual interview. And then I had my branch visit at Worthing. Had a great day. I went on the road with some of the people that worked there. I met Kieran, who was the manager at the time. Then I had my interview with the area manager. I believe that was Ash. Um, yeah, it was nice to see how the branch ran as a way of an insight what your day to day will be like. Um, if I could pick out a highlight, they taught me about the business during that day as well, so you got a good sense of like the KPIs, the dashboards, and everything like that. So yeah, I thought it was it's one of the better application processes that I've been through
yeah.
actually.
And,
It's
and did you
nice and
apply
quick.
for other placements? And what
I
did they
did,
have
yeah,
involved in theirs?
I
Yeah,
did. So there was a lot of AI. Well, to be fair, I didn't really get through much of the AI stuff. There's a lot
yeah,
of competency screening and stuff like that. So I really appreciate that Enterprise doesn't have the test centers or the the mental games
yeah,
that I don't like. It's
yeah,
literally, it's very personal. It's very, they care about you as an individual, and they also learn, they want to employ you from the way you are as well, not
yeah.
necessarily your skill set, because you'll obviously learn the skills. So it's just like a chat. It's a very chill. It's not pressurizing at all. I didn't feel pressure during my interview stages. Um,
Perfect. And I
yeah,
love the fact that you remember who your recruiter was.
yeah, she
That
was
you've
great. She
name
was
dropped
lovely.
Sophie. So,
Yeah,
which is fantastic that you built that relationship with her as you went through the journey, which is just great. So
yeah, yeah.
fantastic. Brilliant. Good. So let's kind of just jump on to the next one. So I've seen that in the Q&A, the chats come up, and I know that Sam's put a couple of notes in there to say that we'll get to them. So we will. So let's look at the 6 core competencies that we look for people when they're joining our graduate and placement opportunities. So first and foremost, and I think personally, this is probably the only real technical skill that we look for, but we look for customer service. And I always think that we bring into our business strong customer service people, and we teach them and train them everything else. I'm a firm believer that I can teach somebody to read a profit and loss statement. I can train somebody to sell to my customers. But what I need them to do is to have the confidence and that customer service skill to actually be brave enough to speak to them in the first place. So we look for people that are coming from that customer facing background. Like I said earlier, retail, hospitality, anything in the service industry where you are working with the public, working with people, working with customers. Beyond that, then we get onto a lot of those transferable skills. So we want strong communicators, people that are able to adapt and tailor their communication style. You could go from one day in a branch speaking to someone like my 70-year-old mum who's driven the same car for 20 years and is being put in a brand new car and is terrified, all the way through to a company CEO where you're trying to win business and trying to sort of actually sort of outdo competitors and go from there, right the way through then to your area manager, to a part-time car prep driver who's semi-retired. You've got to be able to tailor and adapt and understand people skills and have empathy and emotional intelligence to be able to communicate to these different people. We look for evidence of leadership, and within that as well, a good understanding of team working. I touched on already my background. A lot of my leadership skills came from how I captained football teams, cricket teams, those sorts of things. It could be that your leadership comes from being on the committee of a society. It could be that your leadership experience is being a weekend supervisor in your bar job. It could be that your leadership experience comes from being a more of a carer or a mentor for a younger sibling, and that you have to take ownership and responsibility for their well-being. But draw on all the different things that you have done that's made you who you are. We look for a strong work ethic, and within that, a flexible approach as well. So we want people that aren't afraid to get stuck in, that aren't afraid of doing a couple of extra hours work when things go wrong, that will put the customer, the business, and their teammates first when they need to. Because trust me, things do go wrong in business, and it's how you respond and react to that. So not being afraid to get your hands dirty, not being afraid to get stuck in and help out where you need to. And then the last one on there is sales aptitude. And I always think this is important to see in that word aptitude. We don't look for hardcore sales experience. If you've come from a background where you have had to sell tens of thousands of pounds worth of product, brilliant. But also, if you're coming from a background where what you've had to do is offer sides and extras and add-ons in your restaurant job, or when you've been working in retail, you have to increase the number of items in a basket and those sorts of things, that's a good background for us. If you haven't had any experience of selling of products or items, think about your time at university. How do you sell an idea? You're doing a group work project, you've got that brilliant idea. How do you bring your teammates into it? How do you get them to understand your idea, handle their objections, and get them to agree with your solution? So always take a bit of time to think about the question that's being asked, and think about sort of how you can spin the question to suit your experience, your circumstances, your sort of background. So Louise, I'm going to put you on the spot here. What background did you come from prior to Enterprise? Had you led multi-million pound projects? Had you led teams of 50 people and all of these sorts of things? Or, was your background something a little bit different to that?
I worked in Clark's, so
Okay.
I'm
Yeah.
a pro at finding shoes, back to school shoes, and I had to upsell like patent, shoe protector, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that's kind of all I had really. But obviously, I dealt with customers on a day-to-day basis, so I was quite good at like basically making small talk.
Yeah.
But yeah, through my interview, I could then pinpoint kind of what I'm good at and personalize it towards what Enterprise wants. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, good.
I was
And
also,
at university as well, we've touched on being a student
yes,
ambassador and
I
that
was
side. Yeah.
student mentor, so I helped sociology students. Is what I studied. I helped them I helped students if they had any queries about their assignments. I also was the captain of the football team, so
Yeah.
I linked that with you.
Yeah. So there's a couple of
Yeah,
leadership examples already.
yeah, leadership
Mentoring
examples.
and
Yeah,
sport. Yeah.
exactly. What other ones? I was in an orchestra as well, so that's teamwork, kind of working with people as well.
Yeah.
Um,
It's your work ethic, because as someone who has
yeah,
not got a creative bone in their body and does not understand how to play an instrument, the amount of work and hours that
work
goes into
ethic.
that,
Yeah, yeah.
I tip my hat. So yeah.
I've always had quite a good work ethic as well.
Yeah.
I did quite well
Fantastic.
at school. So,
Brilliant.
yeah.
Good. So last couple of slides before we get to a couple of the questions in the chat, and I can see that my colleague Sam's been very, very busy in the background, so we'll answer him as many as she can as we go through. But just wanted to touch on a couple of more things that relate to some of our founding values that we looked at right at the very start of the evening. And for us, like I said, diversity and inclusion isn't just a buzzword. It is something that is ingrained in our company culture. It is something that is led from top down. In terms of how we open our doors for our talent and our employees, and how we actually enable them to feel included and valued in what they do and what they bring to work every single day, but also how we actually push that out into the external community, and how we engage with some of those different groups in society that needs that additional bit of support and need that bit of guidance to be able to compete on a level playing field as well. So when we go through and when you join the business, you will get opportunity to see everything we do to support people of color in our business, to support women in our business, to support our LGBTQ employees in the business. There is so much on offer to really make sure that everybody feels welcome in our organization.
If I can say something, Paul, about that, is that if
Yeah,
that's
go on,
right?
absolutely, yeah.
Enterprise, they do women in leadership events. They have a great women leadership campaign. A lot of the female branch, but everyone, yeah. So I went to one in, I believe it was Heathrow, and it was great. I had the group manager, so they're really, really, yeah, he spoke as well, and lots of women with their stories. So yeah, it's a very supportive place for women. So I thought I'd just add that because they do good
Fantastic.
events.
That's brilliant. Excellent. Good. And the other value that we didn't touch on is where we strengthen our communities one neighborhood at a time. And at Enterprise Mobility, we have got the Enterprise Giving Program, where we have given away tens of millions of dollars every single year to charities, worthy causes, where things are being actually, I've lost my train of thought. So to worthy causes where we feel we can make a difference in those areas in society where perhaps they are facing challenges on a day-to-day basis. So on the slide here, you can see some of the big things that we've given to. But the next slide that I'm going to bring up actually looks at some of our larger but then feeds into our smaller operational sort of corporate social responsibility strands as well. So these are four of our global projects. First one, Fill Your Tank, isn't talking about going out and putting petrol and diesel in all of your cars and things like that. It is working with food banks, it's working with breakfast clubs, after school clubs, with a very simple premise that no child should go to school on an empty tummy. Jack Taylor, our founder, was very much about every child should be given the same opportunity, regardless of where they start in life. And his whole philosophy was trying to allow young people to achieve their potential. So we work very closely with a lot of our partners around the Fill Your Tank program to enable people that need that support in the community to be able to do so. We've then got our 50 million tree pledge and our Roots and Roots program. These are very much environmental sustainability programs that we've got in place. The 50 million tree pledge is a commitment by the Taylor family to the planting of 50 million trees over the next 50 years at a cost of $50 million. Now, this isn't something that we started doing back in November 2021 when COP26 and climate change really came to the fore. We've been doing this since 2007. We are now in excess of 20 million trees already planted, which is just incredible. And these are in our countries and in our areas of operation, sort of where we do our business. Roots and Roots is a healthy waterways, a clean rivers project, as you can see. And Road Forward is looking then very much at social inequality. So we've partnered with the National Literacy Trust over recent years, and we've given in excess of 25,000 books away to schools in communities where they are on the poverty line, where owning a book is a luxury for the children at those schools. And the person in the photo, the person in all of these photos, they are real employees. They're not actors. We want our employees to be valuable citizens in the community, to get involved and to partake in some of these initiatives. We actually allow each of our employees paid days off a year to go and actually participate in charity work, social enterprise, whatever it might be, but trying to make a difference in the community. Louise, did you take advantage of your My Purpose, My Time day, or have I put you on the
No.
spot there?
Um, so I unfortunately didn't because I didn't
Yeah.
have the chance to, but a lot of people in my branch did. And I could talk to you about some charity work that we did as well
Yeah, if you
as a
could, yeah, yeah.
branch.
What were
Yeah,
you
of course.
doing on a local
So
level? Yeah, yeah.
some of my friends did the Brighton Beach Cleanup, which is quite a popular one down here, with
Mhm.
the branches. We also did a lot of work for children need and for breast
Yeah,
cancer awareness as well. So we had a dress down day for both of them where we each brought in £1. So it's little stuff like that that really does
yeah,
make a big difference. That enterprise definitely does drill.
yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
That's amazing. Brilliant, superb. So the last slide that I've got really sort of comes back to our call to action, the purpose of this evening. These are our social channels. Do please give us a like, give us a follow. The three that I would wholeheartedly recommend, the Instagram channel is superb. Lots of bite-sized information. There's lots of little video bites on there. There will soon be a video on there from Louise and her colleague Sophia
It's in the making.
from the
Yeah.
University of Sussex. They're putting something together for me as part of their brand ambassador work, so you'll be able to take a look at that. So yeah, give us a like, give us a follow on Instagram. Our YouTube, our LinkedIn channel is superb. There's a lot there that talks about what we're doing on a national level, a global level. I've seen that Sam has put mine and Louise's LinkedIn links in the chat. So do please connect with us and see some of the things we're up to. And then the one that I think that's really truly underutilized is our YouTube channel. And we've got a lot of content on there that really sort of echoes and mirrors what we've gone through this evening. We've got a whole series around employability where we're actually working with different university career services and going through different things around interview skills, CV writing, video interviews, assessment centers, trying to give hints and tips on all of them. We've also got in there another webinar series, which is University Life. So there's things on there like how to survive your first year at university, how to survive your final year, how to make friends at university, how to make money, how to transition from university to the working world. So there's lots of different sort of webinars on there as well. So do please sort of take a look at some of those socials. And as I said, the call to action off the back of tonight, please go ahead and complete your online application. If this is something that has resonated with you, that's got you excited and you'd like to find out a little bit more about, do please go and apply online and we can go from there. But I'm just going to go to the Q&A and we'll go through and have a little look at some of those and sort of get through as many as we can before we wrap up. So I know that Sam's been beavering away in the background, so let's see sort of what we've got in here. So a couple of sort of fairly easy ones to answer sort of first and foremost. I'll get those ticked off. So two things that required for you to be eligible to apply for our opportunities here at Enterprise Mobility. One, you must hold a full UK manual driving license. The reason for that is that at the end of the day, we are a car rental company, and a big part of our business and our operations is moving our vehicles around, picking up our customers and picking up our teammates and those sorts of things. In the UK at the moment, the fleet is not strong enough for us only to take automatic applications, because in the UK the manual vehicle is still the dominant sort of one. So you must have a full UK license. The only way around that is if you don't have a full UK license or only have an automatic license, is if it is due to a disability, and in which case then we can make adjustments and accommodations from there. The other side of things that we would require is you would need the full right to work within the UK as well. So within that, you must have indefinite leave to remain. If you require sponsorship further down the line, unfortunately, under current government guidelines, we are not in a position to be able to provide sponsorship. And our training program, it is designed to take up to 12 months to complete. For it to finish as a graduate program, you need to get to branch manager, which is potentially 2 years into your career, at which point we would then be losing you off the back of that student visa. So you would need to have the full right to work in the UK sort of applying for us. Okay, so brilliant question in there from Daniela. I'll come to that one. That's superb. So Daniela, you've touched on the fact that you're a business or have previously done business, but you're also looking at data science and sort of that is really important. We've got lots of opportunities as a business. So as I said, sort of fairly early on in this presentation, our management training program is our bread and butter graduate program. That will equate to about 80% of our hires will go into that program. But we do also hire every now and then into those specialist roles. As I said, we do have an in-house tech team. We have an in-house legal team. We've got in-house marketing, HR, accounting, and those teams. Sometimes we will go to market looking to put people into those positions because it is such a specialist skill set that we've not got available as well. All of those roles, just like our graduate management program, are advertised on our careers website. Just please go and have a look and see if there's any there that sort of take your fancy. Some will be up, some won't be up. It sort of just depends on what the need is in those areas. But yes, we do sometimes hire into those more specialist roles as well. Okay. And then, Apeksha sort of talk about the management training role, what it looks like for someone sort of with a master's degree in marketing. For us, doesn't matter whether you're undergraduate or postgraduate, and it doesn't matter what degree you've done. Everybody comes in at that same level, at that management trainee, and learns the way and works their way up through the business. Now, if you have got an interest in the marketing field as you progress with us, you will get that opportunity to sort of apply for those roles internally as and when they're available and as and when they're advertised from there. But certainly what I would say is if you're looking to join Enterprise to get into marketing, there is a much quicker, easier way to do it than going through our graduate program first. There will be organizations that will employ directly into those junior level marketing roles. We don't do so very often. We actually bring people in and grow our own and then promote internally into those roles instead. But every now and then we do go to market with them as well. Perfect. And I think, right, that's nothing left sort of open in there. So, Louise, I'm going to throw to you for sort of final thoughts. What's the one piece of advice you would give all of the people on the call today if they were starting the recruitment journey with us now? What do you wish you knew at the outset of the journey?
Don't put too much pressure on yourself. Just be yourself. Seriously, just be
Yeah,
yourself and hold a conversation, but also use your past experiences and really tailor it to what enterprise needs you as a person. And good luck, everyone. But if you've got any questions, do let me know. You got my LinkedIn, so reach out to me on that.
perfect. Brilliant. Thanks, Louise. Really appreciate that. So super. I'm just going to check, make sure we've got everything there. That's all done yet. So brilliant. So I will close the session there. Thank you everybody for your time this evening. Thank you for giving up an hour of your evening and listening to myself and Louise have our chat. And Louise, most importantly, and Sam in the background, thank you both for the support on this call. You know, we can't do without the two of you. So thank you very much. And yeah, we'll see you all soon.